Hiya hustlers, welcome back to our channel, Wild Heart Hustle Homestead. I'm Candy, one half of Kandy and Kelly. I'm primarily on the screen. You do see Kelly every now and then, but this is kind of my journey and exploring everything that we're doing and building this frugal homestead from scratch. So those of you that have been around for a little while, we really appreciate you and welcome back. And those of you that are new here and have found us through the amazing YouTube algorithm, then welcome and thanks for joining us. So you can tell, I think, that the mood is a lot better here on Wild Heart Hustle Homestead. You know, the motivation is flowing, we're kind of getting there. I thought I'd do this video. You saw the last one when I got my nice kitchen units in, and I feel like we're proper getting into homestead mindset now. So I thought it would be quite cool to talk to you all from the kitchen today. And I just wanted to talk a little bit about motivation and also to recap on why we're here and where we're at. So a few of the videos, I think, and I've looked back, I think I said it on a few videos ago, that maybe sometimes I can come across as a little bit doom and gloom and that type of stuff. That's not my intention. Don't get me wrong, there are hard times, absolutely. This is a full-on way of life. I'm not going to deny that whatsoever. And sometimes, you know, it's the way that we've been building this frugal homestead from scratch. So I'll talk a little bit about this in a minute, but completely changing our life. We don't come from a long line of farmers or a long line of homesteaders or anything like that. This is just something that we feel is in our heart and soul that we've always wanted to do. So we're pretty green in that respect. You know, we know a few bits, we've researched a few bits, but we've essentially really changed our life. And some of those things that we've been doing leading up to this point have been quite monotonous. And this is real life. I always said to you that I wanted to share real life stuff. And I absolutely will, the good and the bad. So in the last few weeks, we've had a lot going on, you know, well, probably the last few months. We got the keys to this place in February, and if you look back at our previous videos, we've kind of, I think I can actually say, completely renovated the property. You know, there's still some original features, there's still some, there's still a lot of jobs to do, but what we're thinking, the jobs that are left are, you know, just getting it to our own standards, getting it to our own taste. You can see, even in this room, it's pretty white. So what we wanted to do was, once all the plastering was done, was just get all the painting done as a white coat. You know, so it looks clean, it's fresh, it's new. And then as we start living in the space, we can adapt and change colours, because we like a lot of colour. That's the only thing that has been a bit hard. It still feels like quite sterile in some spaces, our bedroom particularly. It's just all white walls, and we just haven't got the time to actually focus on that at the moment. So what we're thinking about doing is saving a lot of those painted jobs for the winter. So this time of year, obviously, we haven't got anything growing at the moment apart from the triplets, and they're doing well. Concentrating on getting the garden into a decent spot. We've still got our front fence that needs to be done, hopefully in the next month or so. And we really do need to figure out about a back fence, and that's going to be vital, because obviously we're right in the country. There's animals coming in left, right and centre. You've got deers, rabbits, pheasants, badgers, foxes, everything's coming in. Cats as well. I've seen a couple of cats now on the cam. So we're going to concentrate on the painting. And when I say painting, it's not just adding colour. We've still got, I'd say, 80% of skirting boards in the house. They've gone down, they need painting. Obviously, there's a couple of coats on those. Door frames and door reveals and doors, they all need painting as well. We've got the front porch area. We want to paint both of the front doors, you know, the external one and the internal one, and the front door step. Actually, the only place that we've added a bit of colour is in the porch. We've got a nice green back wall in there that we're hanging coats on. So that makes that a little bit livelier. And in the bathroom, we actually want to kind of paint, even though the smart immersion tank's gone in there, there's still going to be some rooms for the original shelves that were in there as like an airing cupboard. So we've saved them, we're going to sand them down, we're going to paint them, and we're going to completely paint all that bathroom cabinet as well. But those are all the jobs that we're saving for the winter. I guess a big thing that we need to start thinking about is clearing out the tool shed. not tools as in hammers and that, but the tool as in height, the tool shed, so we can use that as a log store, because as you know, we've got our fire and we're looking forward to utilising that in the colder months that will be here just around the corner, I'm sure. I'm not wishing my life away, although I am looking forward to trying that log burner, but things are just going really, really quickly, and I'm guessing we're settling into the seasons, and weather obviously is going to be a massive part of our lives going forward, because not because we just want to sit out in the sun or we want to avoid the rain, but we need to be thinking of what weather's coming in to protect the homestead. You know, is there going to be a frost? Is there going to be extreme winds? Is there going to be a lot of rain? Is there going to be a lot of heat? So we need to be thinking about all of that. But we've come so far, and I love looking back at our videos, and one question that does keep playing around in my mind, and I've said this on the last couple of videos, I think I'm going to do a separate video on it. Are we a homestead yet? When do we become a homestead? Because I tell you, I'm getting my cook on in this kitchen. I'm loving it. So far I've done Scotch eggs, I've done blackberry crumble, I've made some quiche as well. Obviously the normal dinners and lunches and stuff like that, but I really want to get into cooking again. I love cooking. It's a relaxing for me, relaxing hobby. I take time out in the kitchen. Do you know what I mean? Like getting sorted. I've got some. We've got some loads of books about self-sufficiency and preserving and stuff like that. I cannot wait to get my teeth into them. But it's just finding the time. And people think, oh, you don't work, so have you got time? No, we don't work a 9 till 5. But we work probably more than the 9 till 5 trying to get this homestead up and running. And when I say building a frugal homestead from scratch, that's essentially, it's as simple as that. You know, we've escaped the rat race. We've given up our corporate jobs and our corporate lifestyle and all the trappings that came with that. And we've found this little house. It's our little piece of paradise. We've settled straight in. We've got good neighbours, good community around us. And we just want to crack on and do us. And with that, this was a 1/4 acre plot, so it came along with the house. So for those of you that have been around for a while, you know that we stayed in our van for a good few weeks, and then we moved up in the world and stayed in my dad's motorhome, Bunty, which had, you know, a bathroom, a seating area, double bed, that type of thing. And whilst that was fantastic, it's been such a weight off our shoulders to get into the house. And it has been so full on since then that we are absolutely exhausted. But even though we're exhausted at the moment, there just seems to be, I think there's been like a shift on the homestead. It's a mindset. It's a way of life, but it's also a mindset. You know, we can't spend money like we used to. We're not making money like we used to. We need to make things stretch a bit further. We need to be inventive with ingredients that we've got. We need to make sure that we're looking after the garden more. There's no more, you know, in our old house, we used to have a garden, and we loved that, and we grew quite a lot of veg there actually. But sometimes you come home from a hard day's work and you're like, oh, I can't bother to go and water it tonight, it'll be fine. Hopefully there'll be rain in the next 10 days. But here, if we're building this as a kitchen garden that's going to sustain us, we're thinking of a self-sufficiency side of things, then you can't do that, because you miss a couple of days of watering and there might be a frost, or there might be a severe heat wave and you're too knackered to go out and do it. You've got to be a grafter to live this life. You really have got to be a grafter. But the motivation is there, because we're now at a point where we're not working all the hours under the sun for nothing. We're working up, we've got a goal now. We can see things coming to fruition. Before, it was still a bit of a dream. You know, we bought this house, we were living in the van. I could sort of imagine things. I haven't got a good imagination. Kel's got a creative brain, right? So she can see something and then she can imagine what it will look like and plan it in her head and stuff like that. I can't do that. So like some people, you show them like a blank canvas and they'll be like, oh yeah, that'd be amazing. They can do this there, this there, this and that. And I'm just like, it's just a blank square. Like I really struggle with that. But for me, I think the motivation is coming now, because we're really starting to see things come together. So the kitchen's coming together, you know, the bathroom's all done, it's all been rewired, the plumbing's all done, the garden's getting there. We should have our fence up soon and we can concentrate on all the other jobs. I want to start moving with the seasons. I'm talking to you guys like I'm a professional, but we're such newbies, really no idea. And we know it's going to be hard, and we know that there's probably people out there thinking they have not got a clue. This is a big life they're letting themselves in for. We know that. We know it's going to be tough. We know it's going to be a struggle, but we never do things the easy way. We like to throw ourselves into a bit of drama and a bit of struggle, you know. Where's the fun in anything else? So we're looking forward to cracking on, and the motivation is really coming from kind of chatting with you guys and comments and different things, and hearing some advice through the comments as well, people reaching out. Also, we've really been getting into a lot of our YouTubers that we follow on alternative living and alternative lifestyles. This is not just about homestead that we're into. Obviously, that's a big part of who we are and what we want to achieve. But what we want to encourage other people to do and to keep following on our dream is it doesn't have to be what people are telling you it has to be. You know, I'm not going to go into all the system is corrupt and that type of stuff. That's another story, and I could be sitting here for hours talking to you guys about all that. But, you know, there are other options out there. It doesn't have to be a homestead. You know, it can be van life, it can be nomad life, it can be kind of canal boat life. There's other things out there that if you feel a bit stuck, like, and if Ken and I can pull this off, which we're bloody doing it, anyone can do it. I really think that anyone can do it, and our motivation is up to such a high level at the minute. We've got such a lot of stuff going on. So this week, obviously, we are taking some time to sort through our stuff. We've sorted through the loft again. We've done quite a few bits on eBay, so we've been back and forth to the post office. And when we've sorted out all the stuff for the kitchen, so a lot of stuff was still in crates that we just put aside in the tool shed. We put them outside, kind of forgot about them, just assumed they were kitchen stuff, but there was lots of different stuff in there. And what that's enabled us to do is that we're able to kind of do a boot sale. So this weekend, well, yeah, a couple of days, so we are going to be doing a boot sale at our local village. We've done boot sales before. We're boot sale pros really when it comes to knowing what you're doing. However, we've never done one here, obviously. So that's a proper early morning, getting stuff ready to sell. Hopefully we'll get a little bit of money that's going to keep piling up our fund that was decimated by our car that failed its MOT. So we want to kind of reintroduce some of that money to come through, piling up and put back into the savings. And that's good to see that we can try our hand at different things, and just rambling about all the different things that we've been doing and stuff like that. I've spoken before about the financials and money and stuff like that, and yes, 100% I'm going to need an income at some point. But the thing about homesteading is you need to have your fingers in a lot of pies, and, you know, a bit Del Boy sort of thing. And that's the route we're sort of going to go down, I think. There's nothing set in stone. I do need to think about some money coming in at some point soon, likely. We don't know what that looks like yet, but we will continue to share our journey, and if anything crops up in that respect, then we will absolutely share that with you. So one of the things actually is we're both quite into crafts and stuff like that. So we did have a little side hustle in our previous life years ago, quite a while ago, where we sold some crafts and design stuff and that type of thing. And, you know, we're going to give that a go. We've got a few bits ready and prepared. Maybe I'll share them at some point when they become a bit more established, but we're going to test the waters of those at the boot sale, see what sort of kind of reaction we get, and go from there. But you have got to have your fingers in a lot of pies. The only thing that I was thinking is that one of the little things I would have loved to have in the future is like an honesty box. We follow a few people on socials that, you know, they've got their little small holding, they have their honesty box and stuff like that. But I think because we are on a bit of a main road where it's awkward to sort of pull in, I'm not sure we're going to be able to achieve that. But if we do start, well, I'm not going to say if, when we do start growing stuff, maybe we'll need to look at kind of farmers markets or I don't know, but we'll figure that out when it gets to it. But we're going to be creative, you know. We're going to find different ways of bringing some income in, and that works for us. We're not going to be the normal kind of you work yourself into the bone and then get a salary that pays your mortgage people. We've been there, done that. We absolutely don't want to do that. We've got food in the house. We've got a roof over our head. We've got water. You know, we've got shelter. We've got some logs, probably about enough for one night in the winter. But you get the drift. You know, there's different ways of doing life, and we're just pushing ahead and doing what we want to do. So, as I was saying, we've achieved quite a lot, and this was essentially just a bit of a recap video and a welcome to any new subscribers, and just a bit of context behind what we're doing, why we're doing it, and what we're going to be doing going forward. So, we've completely renovated the house. I think I've said that. So that's all done. It's livable. There's lots of little jobs still to do, but who doesn't have little jobs still to do, right? So we're going to concentrate on a lot of the painting stuff in the winter. Everything else is perfectly fine for what we need. And the garden is back to basics. Back to basics. We've got level grass. We've got grass. We're trying to do something with the weeds now that are kind of lining the fence. You've probably seen. They're actually in the farmer's field, but we're trying to cut them down and do what we can with them. We need to plan for the garden. We need to figure out what sort of income we're going to have. And also, on the other side of things, we're really into prepping and stuff like that. I guess we're pretty much beginners, and we're starting from essentially scratch. You can see a little bit of our prepper pantry there. I will do a separate video on that. But essentially, we had such a big stock of preps at our previous property. And that's what we've been surviving on, really. We've been using all our preps. We've been getting that down to a really low level, a level that we'd rather not get to, but we've been using it, and that is what it's for, right? It's not, when you say you're into prepping, people think, oh, zombie apocalypse. No, we're not weirdos. Well, we probably are to some people, but that's by the by. You can be prepping for like job losses, you can be prepping for extreme weather, you could be prepping for a financial collapse, you could be prepping for anything. And we found our preps were handy in the fact that we had a mental breakdown from burnout and a corporate job, resigned from our corporate life and started a whole new life. And that is what our preps have done for us. They've helped us prep for that scenario. So, you know, there's all these different scenarios. But I want to get a bit more involved in that. We've had the solar generator out this week. We've had a decent bit of sun, so we've been getting that charged up. We've got power packs for our phones. We've been getting that charged up. We're really invested into this life. You know, we've got other things that people that we normally associate with would be like, what is that? You know, we've got some vintage paraffin lamps. We want to get all those ready for the winter. You know, we've got all the wicks. We've got the paraffin oil. We've got everything you need for that. We've got, obviously, the log burner. We've got just different things like old school tools that are not electric that you can use by hand and stuff like that. So I don't know, maybe we're a little bit kooky, maybe we're a little bit off the wall, but this is us. And I think it's a massive achievement to get yourself out of the 9 to 5. That aside, adding into the fact that we've renovated a property and we're building a frugal homestead from scratch, I'm really proud of us. You know, really, really proud of what we've achieved. And this is only the start, really. I think I've said on a previous few videos that we're just starting, but we've been doing it for about a year. But it's all the other stuff that comes with getting yourself out of a life and building a new life around that. And I'm going to talk a little bit about what changing as a person and changing your mindset and changing your way of life, how that affects others around you, like people that you're close to and stuff like that. That's a future video that I definitely want to touch on, because there's a lot of stuff like that going through my brain as well. As you know, I'm a constant overthinker that thinks through all these different scenarios and different things. But this was just to come on and check in and to say that we're all good. We're super motivated. We get really motivated by all the comments that we see. So please keep them coming. And we are doing a lot of stuff behind the scenes. So there's going to be a lot of stuff that we don't film, a lot of stuff that we don't share. But we are consistently, and we're being true to ourselves essentially, and we're going to keep doing what we're doing, and we're going to keep sharing what we're doing on the homestead. And you know, you're going to have, I hope that we'll be sharing these videos in a year's time, and we'll have a flourishing garden. There'll be stuff blooming everywhere, fruit, veg, herbs, spices, no, all that stuff. I hope that we're coming to you from that position. But I think it's really interesting that we're just starting out from scratch. I mean, how many people start from where we are? It's like not just building a homestead, we're building ourselves as people at the same time, and we are changing, we're evolving. There's lots of things going on in our heads, our bodies, our soul, everything. Like, it's all over the shop. But that's what makes it exciting, and that is what is keeping us motivated, because every single day we try to have a little list that we tick off. And we've had some big achievements, we've had some minor achievements, but they're all achievements, and we're just taking one day at a time. So if you want to follow along for the journey, like I say, there's going to be lots more to come. I'm going to be doing a lot of rambling, a lot of talking, a lot of thinking out loud, but you're also going to see how the homestead develops over time. We're on a budget, we've got a 1/4 acre plot, and we are just going to go for it. We're beginners, we're newbies, we're a little bit green, we've got some knowledge, but we hope that with life experience and the enthusiasm and the right mindset, that will get us through. So hustlers, thank you so much for following along. If you like what you see and you want to continue following us, hit the notification bell, give us a subscribe or give us a thumbs up, and we really appreciate you all. But thanks for joining us, and I will catch you on the next one. See you later, hustlers.